Today, as part of our Business Spotlight program, we're talking to Neil McSherry. He's Managing Director Designate of McSherry Electrical, and they're based in Mallow. So over to you, Neil. What is it you do, and for how long have you been doing it?
We're an electrical engineering and contracting firm. We operate predominantly in the industrial sector, um, servicing manufacturing, food and beverage, pharmaceutical, water treatment, and sports industries. We're a second generation family business, and two of my brothers work here with me. The company was founded in 1986 by my father, Brian. So next year marks our 40th year
Well,
in the market. We operate to ISO standards for health and safety, for quality and environmental management. Um, I've been in the company for the past 18 years and I moved into my current role just over a year ago.
fantastic. Okay. And you've been growing over that period of time. Obviously, the 40 years in itself is a huge success. What do you attribute that growth to?
We've seen most of our growth really in the last 8 to 10 years. So when I joined the company, our biggest customers were the likes of Dell Computers and Irish Sugar. And within a year, they were no longer trading in Ireland. This like soon after we experienced a global recession. So we were forced to rethink our strategy fairly significantly. And then we actively set out over the next few years to apply our skill sets to a broader range of industries, customers, without diluting what our offering was. We sought out niches, specifics that we could differentiate ourselves from the rest of the market with.
Right.
Things like sports lighting, water treatment, clean rooms, explosive atmospheres, even, and
Oh,
in recent years, some industrial refrigeration. We also benefited from partnerships, which really contributed to growth. Musco lighting, primarily, sports lighting would now account for probably a third of our turnover.
well,
We do repeat business with the likes of Gia, Brian F. Lynn, and similarly with Glenua and Veolia in water treatment. So they were that was the approach.
fantastic. Yeah. Okay. So a massive sort of pivoting under a bit of pressure.
Yeah, tell the truth.
Yeah, good to look back on rather than being stuck in the middle of. Yeah. If you were to start from square one in business, what would you do differently?
Um, Look, hindsight is wonderful, but I do think that the lessons you learn on the way are pretty critical to your identity.
Yeah.
Uh, I, I guess I'd probably trust my gut a bit more.
Okay.
You know, I would have some level of naivety around opportunity. When you're younger, you think every opportunity is a good one, and there's some we fought hard for that turned out to be bad for us as a business. It's probably also guilty of giving away our expertise too cheaply, and people tend to take advantage of that.
Okay. So again, you'd be a bit more. I don't know how you, as a young, put an old head on young shoulders, but
It's hard to know until you've experienced it. That's the
yeah,
problem.
yeah. Well, I think. I mean, I like the phrase "you either win or you learn." You know,
Fair enough.
yeah, they're the only two options, which is great, fantastic. Um, what have been your biggest learnings as an employer since you began in business?
Probably patience, and the ability to suppress impulse, because if you act on your first feeling, it can often do you a disservice. I think most decisions are best made after a good night's sleep or with a second opinion.
Okay.
Um, I've also learned that there's extremes of the up and downs of an economic cycle, and they come with their own pressures. So it's obvious, like on the downside of recession, that's obvious to everyone. But at a time of full employment, that can compromise your efficiency and your quality. And I find, particularly for a business that values itself on those type of things, I find that quite hard to deal with.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I know there was some survey came out now that the press loved was that two people in work are unhappy with being in work, sort of thing. And again, I'd see that as a massive opportunity because if we can build up the culture in a company and make it a great place to work and actually people enjoy coming in, we can have, the pick of top talent.
Yeah, I fully agree with that.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, and the other one then is how do you balance, your personal life with the demands of running a business?
I'm pretty disciplined, thankfully, and I can compartmentalize in that, I leave work behind me. It doesn't consume me for the evening or for the weekend. Um, and while I work hard, I'm pretty committed to looking after my own mental and physical well-being. So I subscribe to the philosophy that we work to live, not the other way around. I do
Fantastic.
CrossFit 3 times a week. I cycle once or twice a week. I've become that mammal,
Fantastic. Yeah.
depending on the time of year, but it keeps me sane. I also only live 5 minutes from home, which is
Oh,
a real advantage. I can pop home if necessary. Um, we prioritize family life and quality time that way. I'd always try to get home for 6 o'clock unless I'm on the road or overnighting somewhere. And most evenings and weekends are spent the same as anyone with kids of our age, running around to different sports or birthday parties or whatever activities they're at. And I coach under 12s rugby, which
oh,
keeps me
oh.
busy another couple of days a week. I definitely think our identities tend to get caught up in the professional side of our life. Um, and I think I've learned and developed more in that regard in recent years, uh, more so than even in business. And I think it's actually complementary to my outlook on work and decision making. I
Fantastic.
think that, like, the notion that wealth should be measured on health, relationships, quality of life, as well as financial metrics, that resonates with me.
Fantastic. Yeah, yeah. I'm getting a second crack at it. As I was saying, yeah, we were chatting earlier. I'm a bit like plastic of being recycled. I got a live-in grandson who's now 15, and so I'm getting a second chance at all of the stuff you talk about. But it's great. It keeps me in contact with the next two generations down, sort of thing, between the kids and their parents as well. So
And
yeah.
you probably have the time, more time and patience
Well,
to.
well, I think again, like you said, I've learned a bit more.
Yeah,
Kind of the mistakes I made earlier, where I was, maybe too focused on the work and too focused on the financial side of it. Now we have some benefits from that now, but again, as you say, the relationships. We just celebrated a birthday. My daughter's birthday the same week as mine, so we had a joint birthday sort of thing with having all of her friends plus all of mine sort of thing and relations and that. And great night had by all sort of thing. So it's that kind
yeah.
of thing is
You're doing something right then.
yeah, well, yeah, there is that.
Yeah.
They're still talking to me anyway, yeah. So, um, okay. So just going on that thing, what qualities do you look for in employees and how do you foster a positive and productive work environment?
Um, I suppose I'd look for accountability primarily, initiative, focus on quality. I know lots of people bang on about that, but then a desire to over deliver with it.
Okay.
Like there's a lot of mediocrity I alluded to earlier in the trades, and I think the standard has really slipped in the past 10 years.
Right.
So that's a constant battle. People who want to do it right and who want to do it better. My father has always operated in the philosophy that if I employ someone and if I have to watch over an employee all the time, I got the wrong person. And we want our people to be semi-autonomous.
Right. Right.
I think I don't think we'd ask our employees to do anything that we would be unwilling to do ourselves.
Right.
Um, and there's some advantages in working for us in that you get big company exposure in terms of projects and industries, but within a small company culture.
Brilliant.
You're not just a number.
Fantastic.
Um, we'd like to, we think we do anyway, incentivize positive contribution. We'd be open to any suggestions on how we can do anything better. We don't always adopt them, but we'd be open to listening to them. And I'd hope everyone here would feel like they have a voice,
Fantastic.
that they can
Yeah. No, I know
heard.
companies your size, that communication is the number one thing
Mm,
that if you get that right, if you get the culture right, get it written down, get everybody to ascribe to it, because they're the culture with every company.
yeah,
We write it down or not, but to get it all positive, get everybody going and going back to this, attracting and retaining great team. If your culture is very good, if everybody's bought into it, it aligns with their own goals and objectives, then leading them and managing them is so much easier.
yeah,
And
definitely.
if the opposite is the case. But yeah, that's fantastic. And what are some of the common misconceptions about running a business and how do you address them?
Um, well, they generally come from people who don't run businesses for a start.
There is that, yeah.
The grass is always greener.
Yeah, yeah.
If it was easy, everyone would be doing it, right?
Yeah,
All those things.
exactly.
People generally only see the upsides. They don't see the failures, the hard work, or the what it took to get there. Like there's no substitute for hard work, commitment, conviction.
Mm.
Obviously, you have to have a product, but if you have those things with it and you're committed, you'll succeed. Like if you're running a business, it's beyond a job. It can be all consuming at times. You have to make sacrifices that are above and beyond a normal career.
Hmm.
I think as well, look, I've learned significantly in the last year that you know all problems come to my door. That can be pretty lonely, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I'm luckier than most in that regard because, as I said, my father's still around as a sounding board and keeps a close eye on things here. So that transition is helping, and I have two brothers in the business to help share the burden.
fantastic. Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, I know the question we do ask is, why did you go into business? And the answer typically was to have more money and more time. And the follow-up question is, how's that working for you?
very poorly. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Listen, Neil, it's been great chatting to you today. Really appreciate you taking the time in a busy setup like yourselves. And we wish you every good wish going forward.
Thanks for having us, Kevin.
Very welcome.